this is Amy, and today's video will be Q&A number 5, I believe, or is it 6? 6, I think. And we have so many questions, so let's get started. First question by MS Spanders 10. Love your Q&A. What are your thoughts on the pont neuf and the style code is M41752 in empreinte leather. I'm thinking of getting this bag in the noir or the montaigne in the noir. And I actually recently went to check it out, and to be very honest, obviously very beautiful bag because of the empreinte leather. There's a few things that I don't like it personally. So first thing is because it is a zipper closure bag and the handles stick up, and so like the handles are like this, and then you have the zipper closure having to go in between the two handles. That's kind of impractical for me if you want to have your bag closed and open all the time. So if I were to buy that bag, I would probably use it open and only close it when I need that extra security, for example inside the car, or if I don't know, if I was traveling or whatnot. But most of the time I would leave it open. So would that defeat the purpose of having a zipper top for that bag? Maybe. So it depends on how much you love the bag. In terms of the shape and the design, like in terms of the actual like aesthetic, I do like it. The pocket in the front is maybe a little bit useless as well, because although you can still access it, you have to open the zipper and then sort of like tuck some of the top flap sort of under the pocket to access it, and it's very thin, so that again might fit like maybe like a bus pass or something like that, but otherwise very like quite useless as well. And then the last thing is so I checked both the and the GM size because that's what they had, and the interior is actually just fabric lining. I know on the website it says microfiber, but it is actually just fabric lining. Aren't you lovely? Nice selection of sunnies. I'm surprised you don't have any LV sunglass cases, or do you? How wide is your pochette metis strap, and does it get heavy for you when you carry it as a crossbody? So no, I don't have any sunglass cases. I've seen it, I've touched it and like tried it a couple times. It didn't fit all the sunglasses that I had, so I decided not to go for it. And to be honest, a lot of times I just don't even bring my sunglass cases, because like as I said in my prior video, I end up using 1 or 2 pairs of sunglasses that I have, which mainly the Coach ones and my other aviators. So I don't even bother putting them in a case. Most of the time it just sits on top of my bag, which has microfiber lining, so that in itself is protective, and I haven't had any issues. Second of all, the pochette metis, it does get heavy. Like that's one thing that I want to do. I want to do a review soon with my Twice, comparing with the pochette metis as well, and perhaps the Alma, because someone asked me about it. So the difference is that with the pochette metis, the strap in itself, you know, it's a harder material. It's not leather, right? So it doesn't soften up as quickly, and also it's canvas material. It's not leather, so it doesn't just mold to your body as quickly as say the Twice did. So it did get heavy at one point, like because you can load up the pochette metis quite a bit, and so it does get heavy at times. It's something that I've gotten used to. I guess because I love using that bag so much, it is very, very easy for me in any way to use it. I find it very practical, and I like the organization in it. But it is definitely a bag that you need to get used to for a little bit of time at the beginning. I would say even maybe for like a whole month or two. 2 centimeters wide. So there you have it. It's 2 centimeters wide, and it has some thickness, you know. I feel like it's 2 pieces of quite thick canvas together. Mina O, what are your thoughts about the quality of LV going downhill? I was watching a luxury bag YouTuber, and most of the posts agreed that LV bags have gone down as far as the quality as opposed to a few years ago. Do you agree? Obviously my collection is not like super big, and then I do inspect my bags very carefully when I purchase them. So the only bags that I've had to repair was my pochette metis, the glazing, and then my husband's wallet. So do I feel like the quality has gone down? You know, like a lot of times I do see, like when I go to LV and I check out their new things or like whatever items that I might be interested in, I do see some of them I just feel like I would never buy them just because, you know, they're not perfect. So I do agree that there are pieces that are not up to par, like not up to the standard that I would expect them to be. Also keep in mind that, you know, the demand of their bags are getting higher and higher. I think of all the great luxury brands out there, LV is one of my favorite for many reasons. It's not just because they are relatively more affordable, but they also, I don't know, they are quite timeless. It doesn't matter that it's just a canvas bag. It's just they do have their quality, they do have their history, and they do have the practicality is there. I just feel like every time I shop for a new luxury bag, you know, I look at Prada, I look at Gucci, I look at Chanel and all that, I just end up going back to LV because their bags are just really, really practical. It just makes a lot of sense. For a lot of us, we need our bags to be not only mostly carefree, but just practical, not too heavy, not too clunky. And as a result, I think a lot of people love the brand because of that. It is also one of the most highly valued luxury brand in the world. So if not the most, I think for several years it has come to the top. Basically, it's the #1 brand in the world. So with the demand being higher, you can imagine that they have to, you know, with the old artisan or the old workers retiring, you have to train new artisans and new workers to make their bags, and there is a learning curve, right? So like a restaurant, you have new waiters come in, or like a store, you have new cashiers who come in. They will always be slower or sometimes make mistakes. I think that also explains why LV has been having some quality issue, because I think with the demand increasing and then maybe also the workers changing over time, the more training from within the company. I guess my point is that it will happen to almost any company, any industry, not only luxury industry. Just because they're a luxury company doesn't mean that they will not make mistake, and that, you know, like all these factors just come into play with the quality control. You know, if you have a bag that has a problem over and over and over with, it boils down to how patient you are with resolving the issues with them. And I think that if you were unlucky, or if I was unlucky enough to get a bag that I had to go back and forth a lot with, then it was just not meant to be. So I guess to answer you is like, yes, I do believe that they're having some quality control issues, which I think will happen to any brands and any industries. And despite it, I will still continue to be their loyal customer. Jennifer Moran, I just got a call from my LV store today. My essay is holding a pochette metis for me. Would you recommend the bag? And she knows that they are hard to get. So as I said, I do recommend the pochette metis just because I'm really biased. I really, really love the bag. For me, it just makes sense. It's really roomy. The compartments just make sense. I tend to like smaller bags, and I don't carry, like, I'm not a heavy packer basically. I will say, as I said earlier, that it does take a little bit getting used to the bag. Like, first off, the strap is quite hard. The S-lock, some people might not get used to it right away, although I found it really easy. And then I guess there's a little bit of nervousness with the patina. You know, you don't want to ruin such an expensive bag. So I do still recommend it. It's just like a matter of, you know, how comfortable you will and you can be. Like I said, when I bought it, it was my guinea pig as my first Vachetta bag. So I was okay with the fact that, you know, I will, whatever, no matter what happens, you know, I'll just love the bag as much. And it got poured on and all that, so in the end it was fine. So I'm really, really happy about that, obviously. And I just ended up loving the bag so much just because it's really the perfect bag for me. I did suggest to her as well that maybe she want to look into the Twice, because the Twice bag that I recently got in the faux leather, also similar price range, right? So the Twice is very, very roomy, actually more roomy than I ever thought. And no, you can't place certain things the same way that I would in a pochette metis. And I really, really love the, you know, pre-designed compartments as well as the microfiber lining. For that, it makes a lot of difference for me, because there are things that I bring out without cases, such as my sunglasses and my camera, and I know that they will be protected. And I've been using my bags this way. That's why I love microfiber lining so much. And with the Twice, I feel like I can actually fit as much as the pochette metis, except that all the little things that are in my little pouch, I just have to take it all out and put it in the front pocket at the very bottom, then put my phone on top, and then put my keys on top, you know? So like, you can work it that way, but it won't be as easy to use, like, because with the pochette metis, you just take out the pouch and then you get whatever you want from the inside, whereas this one, you have to take out your phone, take out your keys, then you can reach for the things in the bottom. So it's a different bag, but I totally recommend, I still recommend the pochette metis, and of course I would recommend the Twice as well. McManus's question for you: if you were to pick between the Pallas chain or the St-Germain, which would you pick and why? Bag factor is, the bag weight is a factor for me because of rheumatoid arthritis. In terms of the outside aesthetic, I actually like the St-Germain a lot more. The St-Germain is also full on pont leather, whereas the Pallas is the flapless leather, and then the rest is monogram, and then both have the gold chain. The gold chain actually on both of them are very, very light, so that's not an issue if you're concerned about weight. Obviously, the full leather bag will be a little bit heavier, but I think because the bag is not so big, I'm referring to the PM size, by the way, because I'm just trying to compare the similar size bag. I feel like the look of it is just a little bit more sophisticated and a little bit nicer, and the fact that it's full leather, it's just a little bit more luxurious. But I think both bags are nice. Obviously, if you like the Pallas chain style a little bit more, then of course go with it. To me, they're not too heavy. Rosie Delorme, I want the Alma BB for sure now. Is the epi leather as durable as the canvas? Obviously, I am careful, but like, I just felt like there were several times where I could not help it. It bumped into someone else, or it bumped into like someone's cart or whatever. And every time I look at it and I try to examine if there was any scratches or any bumps or like dents, there was never anything. So it actually is a lot more durable than I thought. And of course, the damier band will be also very durable. Like the canvas itself, I feel like is very, very durable. And unless there was such a great impact, they would probably not show any wear. The only place where you would see wear is on the leather, so on the chocolatey leather on the damier band. So really, both to me are very durable. I mean, the epi leather, obviously, if you run your fingers on it or your keys on it, you know, hard enough, you will see it. But if it's just like a bump here and there, then I don't think you'll have any problems, because I haven't had any problems. So just still be careful with it, obviously, but you don't have to baby it as much as you thought. And I certainly don't have to baby mine. I'm just careful, but I'm like, I don't baby it, and I don't see any wear on it at all. Hi Amy, I like watching your YouTube videos a lot. I am new to Louis Vuitton. I've been wanting to purchase a Montaigne GM in monogram. What is your opinion and thoughts about that bag? My good friend really likes the bag. She is saving up for her Montaigne in the empreinte leather, and I know Miss MS Banders, she has several of them. So I've seen it on so many people and they look so good with that bag, and I think that it is a very practical bag, even though it doesn't have a zipper closure or whatnot, but that also kind of lends to its practicality, because you know, everything is right there and you can reach it really easily, and yet it has a zipper compartment in the middle where you can put your keys and wallets so that, you know, those things will stay safe. Ink Sheen, Hi Amy, I don't think I've seen any multicolor pieces in your collection. Do you have any? If not, how come? No, I don't have any multicolor pieces in my collection, and there's no particular reason. I just, you know, I appreciate everything that LV makes, but it's not my cup of tea, if that makes sense. Like, if I were to pick one, I would pick the noir with the multicolor, but I don't know, I just like classic things, right? I like the regular monogram, and I like the regular demi-ébène. I like, you know, the regular empreinte leather. To me, those are very classic and will stand the test of time, and I know I won't get tired of them, you know, 2 years down the road. Mazer Habibti. Hi dear, I'm thinking about buying a monogram bag in black leather, either Retiro or Phenix both in noir, please. Which one would you recommend more? I like both and cannot decide. Your thoughts are highly appreciated. Thank you. I think the Phenix looks really chic, especially I think the size, don't quote me on it, but I feel like the size can accommodate a laptop, like a 13-inch maybe, MacBook. And then of course I think the Retiro might also do that, except that maybe the corners, because they're rounded, that I'm not sure, so you'll have to test it out in the store. But I think both styles look great. It depends on when you wear it, how the style looks on you. Personally, I feel like if it was for me, I would probably choose the Phenix. I feel like the style of the Phenix will be more suitable for me, more business-like. That's something, if like for me, if I were to get it, I would get it for that reason, because I have a lot of everyday bags already. So if I were to get either one of them, I would choose it for more like an, you know, something that I would put my laptop in and then all my essentials in as well. But I really don't think you can go wrong with either one, because they both have microfiber lining. One thing I do want to mention though is with the Phenix, because it is a magnetic closure, which is very strong by the way, it's so easy to get things in and out, whereas with the Retiro you do have to open the zippers. Jessie Chan. Hey, hi Amy, needed some of your advice. I'm contemplating between the Empreinte Twice and also the Mono Twice in Noir. Which one do you think is more durable, hard wearing, and as I do feel that the Empreinte leather needs to be more careful. So I do recommend both. I do think that perhaps the canvas one is a little bit more hard wearing. As I mentioned earlier, I do think that canvas, you really need to have such great impact in order to like damage it. With leather, you know, leather is skin, right? It's a material that you know, will change over time, will expand with the things that you put inside. The color might fade depending on, you know, where you use it and how much I guess rain or all that like humidity you get it exposed to. So I definitely feel like canvas will be definitely more hard wearing and more carefree. But the empreinte leather that I have, well, the Twice that I have been using so far, and I've been using it ever since I got it non-stop, I don't feel like it's that easy to damage it either. Like obviously if you bump it hard enough, it will scratch and it will, you know, scrape or whatnot, but you know, I'm sure you're careful with your such expensive bags anyway, and you know, just by being a careful person, you will eliminate most of the risk of getting it damaged unless some sort of accident happens. So I think both are quite hard wearing, but for sure then the canvas will be a little bit better. Joyce Lee, was the personal shopper able to tell you how much duty and taxes you have to pay, or was it a surprise at the door? Were you able to charge it on your credit card? Were there extra fees as well? I'm wondering if it's worthwhile to send the package to the States and pick it up there. States always get charged much less duty. I do not recommend you to send it to the States and pick it up there, simply because you will for sure get charged some sort of duties and taxes by DHL. From the shopping experience that I've had with Selfridges in London, because they use DHL themselves, they will tag on the service fees and the duties and the sales taxes on the item when it enters the country. So if you ship it to the US, then they will charge you there, and then when you go across the border, you have to declare it, right? No matter what, even if you've already paid duties and taxes in the US. So you'll have to pay duties and taxes again just by bringing it into Canada. So I highly don't recommend you to do it because you run the risk of paying twice. As far as the personal shopper, she won't be able to tell you how much duties or taxes you will be charged. She doesn't have any idea, because imagine all the different people asking her that and they all come from different countries. She has no idea, so it's probably pointless to ask her, and she will probably just not know anyway. Yes, it is a surprise when it comes not necessarily to your door, because you do get a phone call from DHL when the item arrives in the country. So when it arrives in Canada, you do get a call from them asking you to pay the outstanding taxes and fees and duties before they will deliver it. So yes, at that point it will be a surprise. Personally, I got charged 10% duties, as I said in my video, and 12% taxes, because that's the tax rate in British Columbia. Yes, there are extra fees, so there's an extra $15 processing fee that DHL will charge you. So that's all on top of what you've already paid Selfridges. At Selfridges, the item that you buy, so you minus 16.6% VAT for if you are from Canada, and then on top of that they'll add shipping, which is $56. 56 pounds is the standard shipping, but if your item is really big or bulky or heavy, then it might be more. And then on top of that, there's a 2% shopping fee. So yes, there's all these layers of fees that you have to take into account. And that is the reason why I say, and I said it earlier and I still say it again, that it's not for everybody, because really the reason why you want to use a personal shopper from overseas is if your item is really difficult to find. The reason why I went with Selfridges is because, first of all, I wanted to try it out, and second of all is I wanted my paste to be made in France. And that was the reason. If it wasn't for those reasons, then I would just buy it here, because you run the risk of getting charged a lot of duties, because technically in Canada anyway, you can be charged between 0 and 35% duty, and we're just talking duty, not even the sales tax yet. So it depends on the category, how they categorize your item. So like for my things, even though I had ordered a leather bag, a full leather bag, and a favorite, they just charged me both as in the category of casual all leather bags, which is 10%. But you could have easily been charged more if they use a different category. Now I don't know what the rates are for all of the other categories, but I've heard that you can be charged slightly less or slightly more. So I know my friend Amy, one time she got charged 8% and the other time she got charged maybe more. So like it really depends, and there's no way for anyone to tell you until the item arrives here. Obviously you cannot avoid sales tax, you cannot avoid the fees that DHL will charge you, and I guess those are really the only things. So like if you're comfortable with, you know, whatever amounts that you have to end up paying, then go ahead and try it. The other thing you have to make sure as well is that, you know, with ordering from overseas, returns are very difficult. So if you decide to try that service, you better be sure that the item that you want you will keep and not return. Even though you are allowed to return to Selfridges within 14 days of purchase, it just doesn't make any sense, because first of all, you will lose all the duties and taxes that you've paid, as well as the shipping fees and shopping fees that you've paid. Yes, you're able to use a credit card to pay for it, except that the address on the credit card has to be the exact shipping address, mailing address that your item is shipped to. So as long as you're using a credit card with your current address and that's where you're shipping it to, then you are able to use a credit card. Otherwise, they might ask you to do a bank transfer. So another question relating to my Selfridges haul, and I know several people have asked me exactly the same question, so I'll just answer all of you at the same time. Hi Amy, I just saw your video on the Twice from Selfridges and wanted to know how much you saved on the item. So you can just pause and look at it again, but I will go through basically what's going on here. So I saved about $300, which is, you know, it's good. But again, like, take into account all the things that I've mentioned and whether it is worth it for you, and also the item that you're looking for, how much it actually costs in the UK. So basically the empreinte leather Twice was £815 when I got it, and minus 16.6% VAT, that's £679.71, plus £56 for shipping, that's $735.71. Now all that, tag on a 2% shopping fee, which equals £750.42. And then using the current exchange rate, and I use 2.05 for the exchange rate, that will give you $1,538.37 Canadian. So that's what you paid for Selfridges. Now when the item arrives in Canada, DHL will call you and will ask you to pay all the fees. So what ended up happening is you have to pay 10%. I had to pay 10% of duty on the value of the item, and the value is only based on the £815 minus the VAT. So the value was on £679.71 in Canadian dollars, which came out to around $1,393.41. And so 10% of that is $139.34. So the total so far came out to $1,677.71 Canadian. All that plus 12% tax, which came out to $1,879.04. And then there's a $15 DHL fee. So the total came out to $1,894.04. And then because the current retail after all the increases so far in Canada is $19.60 plus 12% tax here in British Columbia, so the total would have been $21.95.20, and therefore my total saving was $301.16. I know my friend, when she ordered her Speedy B, she only saved about 50 something dollars because the exchange rate at the time was quite much higher, and it just came out to about the same, but she did want it made in France, and that's the reason why she did it. And as I said, there is no way for you to know how much duty they're charging. They can be charging a little bit more, a little bit less, and sometimes even the couple percent does make a big difference. So it's you have to be the judge of whether that makes sense. And also the other thing you want to keep in mind is the personal shopper there is very busy. Are you willing and patient enough to be waiting and just not knowing when she'll respond? The next question that I have is from Tracy Price, and she's asking me whether it would work for the USA as well. So yes, it definitely can work for USA. In fact, I think they probably ship to most countries, but you have to confirm with her. I don't know if there's any other restrictions, but I know for USA it does work. Chris Podjerski: awesome review, Amy. I got the Alma BB in fuchsia yesterday. Would you advise any leather cream to treat it occasionally? So I don't think it would hurt if you want to use any sort of, you know, conditioning cream on your epi pieces, but I don't think it's necessary either. The only reason why I would ever condition my epi pieces, and that's if you feel like you want to do it, is if it looks dried up. If for any reason your piece, maybe you've used it well, or you know, for whatever reason it has, the leather looks like dried up, then you can possibly apply some conditioner on it. But otherwise I don't think it's necessary. Miss Lady V: hi, which bag holds more, the Twice or the Alma BB? And it's definitely the Twice. Danny from Canada: where do you sell your items? I've thought about it and feel being in Canada is hard, and I'm afraid of someone trying to scam me. I know exactly what you mean, but I think it's not just in Canada, you can get scammed anywhere. But I basically sell on all the platforms. Prior to my YouTube channel, I used to sell on Craigslist and eBay, and Kijiji, which is also kind of Craigslist but only in Canada. So I post it in all platforms just so that my item is more exposed to more people, and so the greater chance of selling. Now, as I said, with eBay, you have to take into account that there is going to be a 10% fee on the final sale price, and obviously you're going to use PayPal. You should use PayPal as the only form of payment that you accept, because you get added protection as a seller, and they also get added protection as a buyer in case, you know, the item that you're selling is not as described, and that's another 4%. In general, it's 4%. So that's 14% on top of the you know, the amount that you will get back. That will be reduced. Now on Craigslist and Kijiji, it's, you know, you're selling locally and you're trying to avoid, for me, I still prefer selling locally sometimes because I want to avoid having to ship it and pack it, and sometimes that can be annoying just because, you know, when you ship something, you always run into the risk of, you know, the postman losing it or someone stealing it. So always, if you ship your items, always insure to the full amount, which I always do. I always, if the item was $2,000, insure it for $2,000, you know, and then make copies of your invoices so that you have some sort of proof of, you know, how much the item was valued at. And as with, you know, being careful with scammers, you just have to do it enough to know. Like, it comes with experience. I've been selling on Craigslist and Kijiji and eBay for such a long time that I know, I can smell when it's a scammer. The moment they tell you, you know, like, can you ship it here, I'll pay you whatever extra to ship it there, just forget about those. Just ignore them because most likely they're fake. And for local scammers, you just, I don't know, just make sure that you do not agree to meeting in obscure places. Always go to maybe a shopping mall with lots of people around and do your transaction in cash. Inspect the cash, that they're not fake, I suppose, and maybe bring a friend, but not necessarily have your friend right beside you. You can maybe have your friend right beside you, or maybe have a couple friends and have one friend stand like further away just to be like the witness of everything. But so that will be helpful as well. Usually when you go to a public place like that, it's usually probably okay. Yes, sometimes they might not even show up, but you know, that's the thing about Craigslist. And in Craigslist, they will bargain with you. They usually try to go 50% off of your asking price. So, you know, you just gotta be firm with your price, you know, unless you're willing to budge a little bit. And with eBay, you always ship to the address that is from their PayPal account. So whatever the address is on their PayPal account, that's the address that you ship it to, because if you ship it to a different address, then you will not be covered as a seller. So the seller's protection will be voided. Smith 620, would you consider all leather LV bags all-weather bags? I would. I think that all leather bags are also very durable, but like I said before, canvas bags for sure are very, very durable, like top durable, except patina leather. So like vachetta leather is durable, but you just have to be worried about not getting it exposed to water. So therefore patina, like leather that can patina, is not all weatherproof. But in general, I find that all leather bags such as pont leather or epi leather are very, very durable and very weatherproof. So that is it for today's Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed it and I hope that I was helpful. Again, this is Amy, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed it, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye!